Welcome to season 3 of Interrupted
Oh god!
Friction.
Shit hit the fan!
I am Brandon Lee Carey. Joining me is professional daughter rememberer Samuel Callahan.
Yeah, so
And we were going to go remember our daughter.
it's you.
I'm sorry, niece.
Right. So
But then we got hacked.
yeah, so what happened is we were just talking about, some future season ideas or whatever, and then I was just spinning around a little bit, and then all of a sudden a breaker exploded and it said CTOS blackout, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like, you do that? And I was like, no, I didn't. And it turns out we're actually being invaded by, I think, a real person, which means somebody is currently playing Watch Dogs.
Yeah, and we will probably have to take this into account in the future during future recording sessions, but
Yeah.
for now, it serves as we can take this and use this to talk about how I didn't like this part of the game.
Where are
Because
you?
9 times out of 10, I would get invaded just as I was about to do a mission.
Yeah, I remember that happening quite a bit too.
And that's not really enjoyable. It's like, I've got an hour to kill. I want to just do a mission. And then you get hacked.
I'm no good at finding the real people, even though I'm pretty sure I know where they usually hide.
You checked any of the cars
That's
nearby?
it! Fuck you! Oh wait, I have to kill him with a gun. I can't, because it's a real person.
Kill him.
Fuck you, Z. Wow, are you an actual hacker? Because you're not dying. This might be like a legit hacker.
This is great. This
Whoa.
is fan-fucking-tastic.
Got him. Now I'm gonna go remember my dead niece. Okay, bye. Anyway. That was weird. Just live video games are happening.
So we go right from killing a hacker. So now that we've gotten off our adrenaline high, it's time to go think about.
I just love the idea that I just killed somebody in just cold blood in the middle of a street just for taking my information, and then I'm gonna go remember my dead niece.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
It's just,
Fuck you, guy.
You want to talk about like
I love
weird
you,
video
my dearly
games
departed
problem?
niece.
You want to talk about weird video game problems? It's something like that. Okay.
And then we go do a cutscene because, of course.
Well, this is like when it just happened.
This cutscene. Okay, I actually like this. Never mind.
Also, I just like seeing this Aiden Pierce, who actually looks like he was getting out of the life at some point because he wasn't
Who
wearing the
looks
trench
human?
coat. Yeah. I like also. It's funny because we talked about that whole idea of them being related, and if you saw this, you'd be like, they're married because they're holding hands, looking
Yeah.
at someone with their last name.
That girl has a lot of friends.
It's just bizarre.
Hat.
And he's so secretive that he won't say that he's the one that leaves flowers on the grave.
This is about
Yeah.
letting go.
I know.
Like, pointlessly secretive.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Stop trying to fix it.
You're right, though. It's a good cutscene in the sense that it tries to set up like what the character, like what she's all about, and I think it's a really interesting idea. But as we discussed in the first episode, it basically
And
it identifies Aiden's whole character flaw, which is that he won't let go.
And it's fantastic that the game acknowledges this,
Do you hear
but he
yourself?
never gets his comeuppance.
Aiden, why
Yeah,
can't you
like as we
stop?
talked about in the first or second episode or third or whatever it
Yeah.
was, the idea that it's like it just doesn't follow the basic idea of a good narrative structure, which is if the hero goes out for revenge, he should suffer for it. And the only suffering he really does is he loses Clara, which he barely knew, and his family has to move away.
The people who suffer are literally everyone else in the story aside from him.
And you could still make a good revenge story about other people dying because of your revenge. Like, there's certain stories about, like, well, my wife died because of my revenge for an old partner or whatever. That's fine. But in this case, it's not people who are really close to him who suffer. Like, his family has to move away. Fucking whatever. And a person he met, like, a month ago dies.
You didn't.
But it's like he personally goes through nothing terrible. And just...
Yeah, like,
Like, he certainly is sad that Clara died, but it's like, it would have made more sense if she died, because that would have been the whole
or
idea of this arc.
alternatively, if he grew as a character and decided that this isn't the right path because everyone around me is suffering for it, that would be interesting, but like, not there is nothing. He doesn't grow, he doesn't suffer, he just exists.
Yeah. Like, I feel like the two ways they could have done this is either one is the standard, revenge tragedy, which is that his sister and his nephew die, which would have made sense. The idea that because he pursued this, more people ended up dying that he was trying to save. Or two, that at the very last moment he just gives up and says, look, I'm sorry, I'm out of this. Like, he decides not, or like when he gets like the final conversation with Damien or whatever, he's like, no, I'm done, fuck it. I'm not going to continue this. I'm just going to go help my family.
How did that happen?
Yeah, like...
But the idea that he pursues it to the very end and it works out perfectly for him is the worst. Like, it's just, it's not good, like, story design.
The moral of the story is you continue doing selfish things, you'll end up getting everything you want, and it's all okay.
Yeah.
That's a terrible moral lesson for your children.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, that idea of, like, that either the people around him should have suffered more or he should have suffered or something, but,
Yeah, just like... Because, again, nothing comes out of this central arc of he can't let go. And that's a great hook. But
yeah.
Again...
Like, that's one of the best ways to do a revenge story.
It just goes to... And he can't let go and doesn't.
And I'm actually kind of reminded of Grand Theft Auto 4 at this point, because the whole idea, I was just going to mention the idea of Watch Dogs and escalation. That a good revenge story and the can't let go, what makes it good is the idea that the stakes keep getting higher and higher, and it's like, I should back out now, I should really back out, I'm getting way too deep into this, I'm getting involved with too many people, and the idea is that, spoilers for the end of Grand Theft Auto 4, is that at the very end you get to make a decision where if you choose to go for a load of money and ultimately just satisfy yourself, your cousin Roman dies because of it. Like, if you choose to be selfish for your own ends, then the person closest to you in your entire life dies because of it.
Even in Uncharted 3, even though the writing in Uncharted 3 wasn't as good as its previous games, in my opinion, it did so do one interesting thing, whereas in Uncharted 3, one of the big plot elements is that Nathan Drake is secretly a thrill junkie and loves adventuring because it gives him that thrill, but at the same time it pulls him away from the people he cares about. And at the end of the game, he decides to finally abandon his need for adventure to marry Elena.
Yeah.
And, like, that's something you can do with it. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
And Uncharted is a very Indiana Jones-esque adventure, and even it gets a basic premise like that correct.
Yeah. And then they kind of crapped all over that with Uncharted 4, but maybe they'll come
the
up with a good setup.
Uncharted 4 is him doing one last job because he's apparently he's being forced into it, not against his will.
Yeah, that's always the case, though. I think that's also a little cliche, but that's a different story for a different time.
I do wish that Uncharted 3 was the end of it, though, honestly. That was a great end to the trilogy.
Is this the pizza guy mission?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god. This is the best part of the entire game. This is the best cutscene, because I remember
episode, by the way. The best scene in the entire game.
Was I gonna call it that, or it wasn't the pizza guy? Because that's great. Too. That's what I want. You know what? I fucking want a picture of Jordi on a T-shirt that says, "Guess what? It wasn't the pizza guy." I would wear that. Oh, I want to shut up for this scene.
Security in these buildings is pretty tight. So people like this feel.
I love you, Jordi. You're so good.
I mean, these people just had a simple chain lock on their door. I guess they want to have a good look at the pizza guy before they open it all the way. All right, fine, sure. So about this problem. Well, that's why I brought the bolt cutters. He opens the door of this box. There's a chain right there. I slip him in and snip, and guess what? It's not the pizza guy. Jordi,
oh my god, Jordi, you're the best. I love the delivery on that. Just like the way he says
it's not the pizza guy.
Like, I forgot this upon my first playthrough, but I forgot just how softly and carefully he plays that. Like, he's saying it as if it's just like a super casual joke.
So matter-of-factly.
Yeah, he's just like, guess what? It wasn't the pizza guy. Like, he doesn't say it out loud as if he's looking for a laugh. He's saying it as if it's just like this bad joke that he thinks is funny in his circumstance.
Really terrible, like he just made a really terrible pun, and it makes him chuckle on the inside.
It's just like the way he says it makes me understand that he finds it funny. He knows Aiden doesn't, but just like, that's the kind of person he is. He's like, I think it's funny because I am completely fucked, and it's great.
If Aiden Pierce serves as a great straight man for Jordi, but it would be also good if he was that kind of like self-aware prick.
Yeah.
Like, they could do so many things with this character that just make him bland, boring McGee.
Yeah, you're right, that a little self-awareness would have gone a long way for Aiden, especially between him and Jordi. Because Jordi kind of brings it up casually sometimes about, like, the stuff that he's doing, but Aiden always puts it away as, like, no, I'm doing the right thing. If he was kind of aware, he's like, yeah, maybe I'm not doing the best thing I could be doing in the situation. But God, Jordy's so great!
Like, 'cause the thing is, you're supposed to, on some level, designers intend for you to relate to Aiden Pierce.
Yeah.
And I just don't.
And that's the Jason Brody problem for Far Cry 3, is that they try to bill everybody as relatable, even if it doesn't make any sense for them to be relatable.
At least Jason Brody had like 5 seconds where he thought maybe he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Even if it was exactly 5 seconds, it was 5 seconds more than Aiden Pierce does.
True. At least as far as I remember, I don't remember any kind of sudden shift in Aiden's demeanor.
Yeah.
So
there's the scene where Jason Brody tortures his brother, and then that's when he thinks, maybe I'm not on the greatest path here. But Aiden doesn't even get that.
Yeah. Like, there's no idea, like, there's no talk about, like, again, something they could have brought up, and they might. I state all of this with the idea that it could come up later, and I could have forgotten. But as far as I remember, there's no idea of, like, Aiden suddenly having a realization of maybe the ends don't justify the means.
Like, what happens to Aiden is that he tries to go for revenge, his family and friends suffer for it, and then he uses that justification to go on revenge even harder than he did before.
Yeah. But like I said, there's, like, never this weird self-aware moment of, like, maybe killing all these people isn't the ideal way to go about this.
Yeah. And again, even that would be acceptable if the game, like, made him suffer, made him personally suffer.
Yeah. If the idea that his revenge, if every step of his revenge made him suffer a little bit more, either physically or mentally or something, like every act, like the game is split into acts, like 5 of them. So if at the end of every act he had some kind of thing happen to him, and the idea that he pressed on regardless.
Permanently on the character model at the end of it.
Yeah, and just this idea that, like, you could set up, that would be the kind of tragedy that I would want, like, the tragedy revenge story of, like, that would be very Shadow of the Colossus-esque. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with that game.
I am.
But yeah, like, with every Colossus you kill, you absorb a bit of darkness and you become worse for it. Like, you were literally turning evil every time you make progress to saving this girl.
Yeah.
And they could have pulled that same concept to this.
Or, like, if he dies at the end, it would be probably even for the best.
Yeah.
Like, this is what going for revenge gets you. A bunch of people hate you and you die.
Yeah. Maybe Watch Dogs 2. But I doubt it. Look, Ubisoft isn't the kind of company who would ever be willing to kill off a character.
Well, I mean, this is jumping ahead a bit, and we'll talk more about it later, but the end of this game is disgusting because it treats this as a superhero origin story.
Yeah, like the very last cutscene is very much like Batman Begins style.
Oh yeah, I have become the Punisher now, by the way.
Yeah.
And there is no setup at all for that. Like, he just comes out of nowhere and goes, wait, yeah, by the way, I'm the Punisher.
Yeah, there's, like, no real justification for it. Beyond, like, the only real justification they set up is basically Ubisoft saying, you're playing a video game, of course this would be the way this would play out. And it's like, I feel like I expect more from games, thank you very much.
I mean, maybe it's because I've played games like Drakengard growing up, where the asshole protagonist is clearly an asshole and everyone knows it.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm like halfway through that game and like the idea the dragon berates you for everything you do, and it's just like, wow, you are the worst kind of person.
What kind of person would be okay with mowing down hundreds of dudes?
Yeah.
Someone like fucking Kind.
Yeah, and this like the dragon brings up the idea of now I think about it, we can't discuss Drakengard forever, but Drakengard has this really interesting idea of using the outsider of the dragon who doesn't understand human ideology and basically, from a very cold standpoint, says, why do humans fight over things that are bigger than themselves? Like, why do you fight over something that you don't believe in just because your nation does? And it's like, that's some really interesting commentary.
Oh, and then there's this guy, It's just great to threaten someone's wife and child just to get a little bit of information out of them. Isn't Aiden Pierce such an upstanding and moral citizen of the law that he's willing to extort someone by threatening their wife and child?
Even like even on a very basic standpoint, they really could have at least tried to soothe this idea a little bit if Aiden had some kind of cutscene where he's just holding his head in his hands going like, I can't believe I have to be this kind of person to justify this. Like, he never realizes this moment where he's like, even if it was just like, I'm playing a character, I don't want to be this person, but I have to be. I have to be the asshole to justify this.
And I agree with the random black guy. Fuck you, Aiden Pierce.
Yeah. But, like, what would you think about that? Like, this idea of, like, do you think it would be at least helpful if Aiden had this sort of self-realization of, like, I don't want to be this person, but I have to be?
Any sort of sense of self-awareness would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Like, if it was, like, someone else, like, if there was someone outside, and then someone goes, wow, you're being a real asshole, you know that?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's ish. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't know where to begin. That's okay, not really great.
Yeah.
But since it's the closest this game gets to Aiden acknowledging he has a problem, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean,
I will begrudgingly accept that.
I'm like, I'm gonna disable the helicopter. Check it out. I actually, think even just, like I said before, just that simple idea of just, like you said, some kind of self-acknowledgement would go a long, long way to helping this character. Because I feel like, you know, a lot of things we talked about earlier are these big grandiose story changes, but all it would take is like a single cutscene, a single bit of dialogue where Aiden acknowledges that he is playing a part to justify himself.
And again, even Jason Brody gets that moment.
Yeah.
In Far Cry 3.
Like that.
Aiden doesn't even get that.
Yeah, like, you know, for as bad as Jason Brody's character, he definitely has him always torturing his brother, where, you know, in that case, it's not a metaphor, it's very literal that he is playing a part to justify his means, but at least, like, they're saying something about it.
Yeah. It's not great what they're saying, but it's something they're saying.
And I guess, what I basically mean by all of this, like, why bother using something like that, is the idea that without that, it implies to a regular person that Aiden Pierce is just an asshole who doesn't have any redeeming qualities. If you do at least that, you can imply the idea that maybe at least Aiden Pierce is doing this for a reason. But without that, it's like, he's just kind of an asshole.
He's doing it.
Yeah, without that, it's like your only conception of him is just he's an asshole who will be willing to threaten families because, I don't know, fuck it, whatever. Like, he's just the kind of person who would naturally do that.
Guilt, or, like, even if it was, like, gleeful, like, I can't believe he fell for that shit. Just to get this...
Like a bluff or something, yeah.
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 Just something that tells me that he is aware, at least on some fundamental level, of what he is doing.
Very much. Alright, I don't think I have enough upgrade points for anything useful. It's 2, okay. Alright, well, finishing the mission, which means we get another phone call, I believe. Yep.
You never called me back?
Of course we do.
Did you find the guy we traced?
Yeah. Some bad history.
Well, now that the best cutscene is behind us, I don't know what kind of world we live in anymore.
This time I have a name. Elena Tucci.
A world we extort
I am after.
men by
Chicago?
threatening their wife and child.
That's also just kind of funny that we went from, like, the best cutscene to, like, probably one of the worst ones in the game. Definitely not the worst, there are much worse ones.
Oh my
But it just went
God,
from, like,
yes.
this really interesting character dynamic.
To one of the low points.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's like Aiden, like, was basically playing the straight man in the comedy duo where he's like, I don't want to take any of your shit, Jordi. And that was actually kind of funny and endearing and setting up this universe. And then it's like, no, we're just going straight back to Aiden Pierce is an asshole because he has reasons that they never really justify.
Because my niece is dead!
And I walked to the remember
A niece
waypoint.
that we never meet.
Speaking of
by the
things,
way.
that actually would have been kind of interesting too. Also-
So yeah, like, Aiden Pierce is really great on this revenge for the niece that died, but I don't know the niece that died. She might have been a complete bitch of a 9-year-old for all I know. What do I care?
Also, funny thing is that it came up earlier, but it says when it said like crime stopped or crime detected or whatever, it counted that as a failure, which we talked about like the first or second episode. That just like apparently it's considered a failure if I stop the crime before it happens with no use of violence.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. Like
Yeah,
it's almost
you
like the game is
don't
actively
understand.
encouraging
So you don't
violence.
understand. Aiden Pierce cannot get his jollies off unless he's beaten the shit out of a criminal today.
But it's just
So
so
if he does not use violence, it is a failure because now he can't masturbate.
It's just such a bizarre thing where it's like, is that some kind of commentary in and of itself of Ubisoft saying, I'm really sure it's not, but it implies this
That
sort
would
of commentary of
that would
Ubisoft saying,
imply that Ubisoft
violence is the
thought
only
about
way to
that.
get things done. You have to be violent to succeed.
And if I was convinced that there was the moral message, I'd be like, okay, great, we can argue that point, but it doesn't even seem like it wants to have a moral message behind it.
Yeah, it seems like it just happens and they really did not intend for that to be any kind of message or anything. But
But that makes it so much worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same problem as like Battlefield Hardline that came out recently, where it's like by not acknowledging the politics of your game, you're making it much worse. All right.
Although I do wonder, that's an interesting question. What is worse, accidentally having a horrible moral message or purposely having a horrible moral message?
Well,
That's a good question.
yeah, I guess when you say accidental, that's kind of half of what I mean. Basically, just the idea of trying not to have a message, and like I said, would be accidentally. Just by virtue of not trying to have a message, having one.
You have a message as a result of your denying any sort of
Like,
message.
people have said before that by virtue of being apolitical, your games are political. Like, being apolitical is a political statement in and of itself.
Yeah.
Which is why you can't keep politics out of games, kids.
And that's a whole different discussion, but like it does raise a couple of really interesting discussion topics in and of itself.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
But now
Pardon
we
me.
have the best weapon in the game, so everything's going to be all good.
Yeah, I bought that just as an auxiliary in case we get into a hairy situation that involves cars. I have learned that from playing Grand Theft Auto again, is that the grenade launcher is the easiest way to get rid of people arriving in a car together.
And again, like the convoy missions are made so much easier when you have a grenade launcher in your pocket. Really, you just park a car in the middle of their path, so they slow down, and then shoot them with a grenade launcher.
I don't think I ever did that, actually. That would have been
It's
really
so
helpful.
easy.
That would have been really
It's
helpful.
so easy.
She likes selfies.
Because the game tells you what the path is going to be.
A sparrow face. She loves her cats too.
She likes selfies.
Also, I kind of like,
Girl.
I like Clara's dialogue here, where she's like, she's a normal girl. Why are you doing anything to her? Like, this idea that Clara is just like, I don't understand your motivations, Aiden.
Yeah.
Okay, something.
I'm starting to remember. I actually like Clara quite a bit, and it's like, it's
Again,
very much.
She has that Lisa problem where she's the most interesting character in the game, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I think like you said, it's also Lisa's problem in the sense that like she's super interesting, and yet they don't give her enough time to develop or do much of anything.
And she doesn't like violence, which
Yeah.
again, for Aiden Pierce's posse is kind of weird, but I'm okay with that because at least it's something I can work with.
Yeah.
Oh, poor girl.
What's that?
I've got a medical record. She had an abortion last year. That might explain the terror.
And I wish the game also comments on the kind of voyeurism aspect that this game has, where you're just listening into people's conversations because I guess you want to.
I also just realized this is some very not subtle commentary on the flow of information. Like that one line where she says, hey, I have information come in, I don't control what I see. Or like what comes in. Which is this idea of like, when you have access to everything, you have to see everything. Like you have this like omniscient perspective and you can't control seeing these dirty things that you may not want to see. That's actually kind of interesting. And now it's also kind of funny because it also plays to Aiden where he's like, I don't want to hear about her problems. I just want to know where she is.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
why is she red? That's the right person then, isn't it?
That's Aisha Tyler, from the Ubisoft press conferences.
Oh, that probably explains why it says gamer. I don't know why she's red
And
though.
Bourbon addict.
Great. This is my favorite
That
part.
is red because that is an actual person from Ubisoft's line of real life people that they use in this game.
God damn it. You know, whatever. That's not the worst thing ever. That's fucking whatever.
No, it's not.
I can think of a million worse things than that. Also, there's the right person. I know because I remember what she looks like. Keep your distance. I don't know, I'm 6 meters away. Is that good enough?
Yeah, I'm not totally against them like putting some real world people into it because
As long as they
You
don't
know.
make like a mission out of it, because that would be really over the top.
I made a mission out of the Abstergo employee from Black Flag.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I haven't heard from my uncle in years.
Okay, thank you, man.
Should we do that one? You
I
think?
don't even remember where it is, so if it comes up, sure, but I don't remember what it's called or anything. Hacker phone.
Alright.
Hacker phone again. Okay.
Elena, you need concert tickets again?
Also, kind of funny thing that I just realized is that when he hacks people's audio, he doesn't hold the phone to his ear. So does he have an invisible earpiece that I'm seeing? Or does he just have a speakerphone? He's like, hey, I can hear what you're saying over here.
I love the idea of him broadcasting it to everyone with her having no idea, even though she's right next to him.
That'd be funny. She was like, there's a bit of an echo in here. I can hear myself for some reason. You'll look over, it's this guy on speakerphone listening to what you're talking about.
And then she screams.
Yeah.
Because that's what you would do.
That's what I would do. Fucking terrifying. Oh, I totally forgot we have not done the Ubisoft radio towers. I'll have to do that between sessions.
Oh no!
Can't hack the
Radio
system.
fucking towers.
Tracking his GPS. Cut him off.
I don't want to do the towers. They were awful in this game.
No, I'll do them myself. We'll probably do one on camera just to demonstrate it, like with the Far Cry towers, and
There's
I'll do
probably a
most of them
story
off.
mission that we have to do a tower in at some point.
Actually, now I think about it, I think there is one where you have to unlock the area as part of going to a new area.
Yeah.
So, when that comes up, it's a Ubisoft game. There'll be a mission for it.
Because the towers in this game were even worse than the ones in the other Ubisoft games.
Yeah, Far Cry is more fun than fucking Watch Dogs in terms of towers.
Yeah.
Also,
I agree.
we're rating tower-based games from multiple different series.
All from Ubisoft.
Yeah. We should get a copy of the Crew so we can compare the Crew towers. Car tower climbing. Hey.
If they're-
Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
you can't kill him. You have to take him out.
No, I gotta kill him now. Which one's the grenade launcher? Hey! 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 Bye!
Oh, now it eliminates.
Well, that could have gone better.
Yeah, see, that makes all the convoy missions so much easier when you have a grenade launcher in your pocket.
Prison transfer from a witness.
Well, that could have gone better.
Vigilante's identity.
I got a better
Literally,
idea.
you just drive. Literally, next time, just drive into the path.
Yeah, it didn't occur to
and-
me to just like park like a good 100 meters down the road and shoot him as he was coming
Yeah,
towards
because
me.
you know where he's going to come from.
Because
you
it's
can just, like,
CTOS.
You can just park in the path, just stand in front of the car, and then get your grenade launcher out, or wait until he comes close enough to get your grenade launcher out, because he will see you if you have a grenade launcher out. You might be surprised, but having a gun out in the open is suspicious.
Oh, yes. Another mechanic that the game kind of shallowly touches on with the whole hiding the gun behind your back, but doesn't really do much of anything.
And again, it would be cool if like you had to dodge security by like being Aiden Pierce, and since that's a person that CTOS knows, you're safe. But then once you put the mask on and get the gun out, they don't know who you are, but they know you're a threat.
You know, it'd also be interesting
eliminated.
if this was like more futuristic Cyberpunk where there was like hardcore gun control and you had to like go through checkpoints while hiding guns or like just get around them or something. That would have been
Yeah.
interesting. I feel like a lot of the series has been, that would be interesting. Just got him.
Let's hear it.
Okay, problem solved. I've murdered everyone.
See, isn't it so much easier to do it this way?
Yep, just reckless murder and property damage. Much better. I killed an innocent civilian, but fuck it, my niece is dead.
Fuck it, my niece is dead. That sounds like Mass Effect 3 talking.
Oh no.
I understand that your race is suffering, but you gotta understand, this white kid died.
You know what I want to do, Brandon? I want to do sick donuts because my niece is dead.
You don't understand, some white Anglo-Saxon female child died.
Therefore, I must do sick donuts and kill people.
Yes. And run over that poor sap.
Yep. That would be
Still
great.
walking somehow.
You know what would be great is if like how Heavy Rain has the Jason button, if I could just kill people and then hit a button that says, sorry, my niece is dead. It had to be done. Just have my niece is dead
That
button.
might be too ridiculous and too self-aware for Ubisoft.
Oh no, they wouldn't do it, but that'd be like a great mod or something. The my niece is dead button that you can just that Aiden Pierce just shouts that whenever you want, especially during cutscenes. It wasn't the pizza guy. My niece is dead!
That reminds me of that one glitch in Heavy Rain.
Yeah, you can shout Jason
Where-
throughout the entire game.
Oh, yeah, and you can, and even during the end game, you could just have him shout, "Sean!"
Oh yeah, it was Sean, it wasn't Jason, because you glitched that part.
Sean!
Yeah, what's crazy is the character's mouth actually moves like it's programmed in the game.
Yes! It's lip synced correctly.
Oh, Heavy Rain is a beautiful game.
They recently upgraded.
No, it is.
It's a beautiful travesty, and I love it.
Network locks, automated circuit.
Next season, Heavy Rain.
Oh,
Calling the guy in
don't want to buy an Elgato to
Oh,
play Heavy
man.
Rain.
I forgot to check the timer again. We were like way past time.
Oh, welcome to the hour-and-a-half long special. Which should be fun. We'll get through this, and then we'll cut it off.
I really should be on my game with that, but like,
See, like
I
here,
just kinda-
like look at this. Like there's an interesting idea. I forgot about this. The whole like getting arrested by just walking a gun through a metal detector. God, they touch on good ideas. Also, I will quit after this
it
cutscene,
happens
but
to be the only prison in the entire state that has CTOS in it.
yeah, I'm gonna quit after
The
this cutscene.
only one in the entire state.
Yeah, like it's just funny during like cutscenes like this. Like there are some really interesting ideas in this game, but it's that Ubisoft, slot machine where it's like sometimes all the pieces align, sometimes it really doesn't.
It would be really cool if he had to do this segment without his phone.
Yeah.
Like if he just had to legitimately just break out using actual skill.
Yeah, that would have been, like we talked about in Far Cry 3, the idea of stripping all your stuff at some point in the game in order to make you understand your progress that you've made. And it's a lot about...
Well, just to understand how Aiden Pierce is overly reliant on that phone.
Yeah, I was going to use a certain phrase. I do not know if this is an offensive phrase because I wanted to use it in articles, but I don't know if it offends people who have this. But I do really like the phrase kicking your crutch from under you, which I feel like is very apt to describe this kind of idea.
Yeah.
It's a very apt game description, and I mean no offense by it, just the idea of relying on a particular system like regenerating health or something like that, and then just saying, you don't have that anymore, deal with it. Which, like you said, without the phone, it would be like, okay, now you have to rely on your naked eye for stealth and to spot people. You no longer can tag them, you have to be able to identify them by their look.
Yeah, and that would be really like a really cool idea where like in this game we do it without giving you the guns. The guns are the biggest part of this game. But they really should have done it by just letting you have no guns and no phone.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But we will get into the whole prison stuff in the next episode.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys later, and we'll see how we escape prison. Also, I just realized that when his idle animation, he puts his hands inside his non-trench coat pockets. I just kind of noticed that. See, look at that. Look what he's doing right now.
Yeah, no, I see
That's supposed to be his trench coat. This scene is so short
You
that they
don't
didn't bother to
understand.
render a new idle animation.
Aiden Pierce is like, oh my god, I really am naked without my trench coat.
You know, I love the idea of like Aiden Pierce mentally like has this muscle memory where that's just where he puts his hands even when he's not wearing the coat.
I mean, it's like me when I have my glasses off.
Yeah. That's so funny to think about.
You know when you go to push your glasses up and they're not there?
Yeah. Alright, we'll see you guys in the next episode of Internet Friction. Hope you've been enjoying, and keep doing Watch Dogs.
Good night, guys.
Alright, buddy.